Hi everybody and welcome to week number 2 of Diary of a Song. Just a super quick recap on what we're doing at the moment. Basically I'm writing some new songs for an album that I'm working on, and I thought it'd be really fun to actually write this song with you and to let you in on the processes that I work on, and also to get your ideas as we go along. So just a super quick recap. This is a song that is going to be about the Highland clearances, and it's a story song. So it needs to be, I like to have a lot of facts, I like to research properly and know that the story I'm telling is actually historically accurate. So last week was a lot about the research that I do and how and why I do it, and then a little bit about the choice of the song that I've chosen to work on. So if you haven't seen that, pop back in my timeline and you can find it. And this week it's been quite an exciting week actually, because my research has reached a new level. You may remember that to start with we didn't even know the name of the character that I'd chosen to write the song about, the actual historical name. I've actually now managed to track down somebody who's done some fantastic research on this particular family and written a book called Flight of the Highlanders. It's kind of difficult to get in this country, but if you're in Canada or America, look up Ken McGugan, Flight of the Highlanders. And he's written quite a lot about the character we're writing the song about, and she's called Betsy, so we have an actual historical name which is fantastic, which we're going to use. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about her story and the particular section of the story that we're working on. So she and her husband were very outspoken about what was going on with the clearances, and because of that they were heavily persecuted, and Betsy and her family were evicted at least 3 times that we know of. And eventually had to flee Scotland, and ended up in Canada eventually. So Betsy, the story we're telling, she was at home one night on her own. Her husband was working away, and she was at home with 4 children. And I now know, having read Ken McGugan's book, that they were her children. She was forcefully evicted by 8 men who kicked her out the house, put the fire out, threw all the furniture out in the street, and boarded up the doors and the windows so she couldn't return. She then spent a chunk of time wandering around the area, trying to find places where she could safely leave her children. Although what had happened is that the people that were the factor that was removing them from the land had already sent messengers around the local area to tell people that if they took her in, they would face the same fate. So nobody was prepared to take care of her and her children. So in the end, I think she must have been quite a strong woman. She put her baby in the arms of her 7-year-old son and sent him into the house of a relative, so that he would place the baby in the lap of the relative, and that way she felt that she couldn't really turf the children out. So she then left the children with this relative and went to search for more help for herself. So that's the story we're telling. It's about Betsy, and I have now written 6 stanzas that are going to tell this story. So this week I'm going to talk to you about the choices I've made for structure for this song. So whether I've chosen to write about a verse, chorus, bridge kind of structure like a pop song, or whether I've chosen to use a song structure where it's sort of lots of chunks, or whether I'm using something like a ternary form where it's sort of A, B, C, A, B, C, or those kind of ideas. And why I'm making those choices. I'm also going to talk about rhyme, where I choose to use it, and why I choose to use it and why I choose not to use it on other occasions. So that's what this week's going to be about, but I think it might be nice just to show you maybe 2 or 3 chunks from the song that I've written, so that you can get an idea of what it's going to sound like eventually. Let me just get a key. On Russell Plain, where the heather grows, I left my heart in the fields we sowed to my Highland home. No more I'll go on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain. My clan have always tilled the land from, and my bands and I to its glens are bound, until settlers men did our home burn down on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain. When the factor came as darkness fell, with 8 strong men for our fight to quell, and to bar the doors and us expel. No more my home, no more my home. Oh, through the night we walked the land from hearth to hearth for one kind hand, but no help would come, for fear stalked the land. No haven here, no haven here. again. And when I die, may my body be lain on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain. So that was 5 out of 6 stanzas that I've written. I thought I'd cut one out in the middle because it was getting a bit long. So that's what we're working towards. We've got a tune. I haven't put any instrumentation to it yet. We're going to look at that next week, and you guys can help me make the choices of what instruments to use. But I just want to talk a little bit about the choices I've made. So I haven't gone for a classic verse, chorus, bridge, pop structure, because actually I feel like this is a historic song. I feel like it's a lament. It's somebody singing at the end of their life about something that they've lost, and therefore a more traditional folk song structure is better. So I've gone for 5 or 6 rather song structure chunks where they're the same. For the sections that rise in tune, I'm basically mirroring exactly the same shape, but I've lifted the whole thing up about 4 notes, and just I'm singing the same thing, but I'm singing it 4 notes higher, so it just gives that little bit more emotion to do that rather than sticking in the same range of notes the whole time. So that's a choice that I've made. Right, lyrics. This is interesting. I am not a natural lyricist. I really am not, which is partly why I'm drawn to stories, because I don't feel I need to be overly poetic. As it happens, I have a father-in-law who is a poet, so sometimes I nick lyrics from him. But what I've done here is I've just told the story, and in terms of rhyme, there's no right or wrongs with this, but this is the choice that I've made. I'm going for rhymes at the end of the lines, and I have kept the first 2 last lines of the first 2 chunks the same. So you've got on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain. The second chunk again is going to be on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain, because she's still in that place. That's where she's comfortable. That's why it's rhyming there, because she's comfortable. From the 3rd stanza, I'm going to move away from that. I'm going to make it uncomfortable. So I'm deliberately changing that last line so it doesn't rhyme. So you've got 3 lines in a row that rhyme and the last one doesn't. So I then move to no more my home, no more my home. So you've got the lack of rhyme is going to help increase that sort of level of discomfort. And the 4th one, again, we've gone for no haven here, no haven here. So she's uncomfortable again. Stanza 5, land of my birth, land of my birth. So again, it's not rhyming, it's breaking away, it's keeping this sense of discomfort going. And then the very last verse, I'm returning to rhyme, and I'm rhyming the whole thing back with that Russell Plain, because in the last line, she is in her mind, she's back again. And so I want to resolve it and make it feel comfortable again in that last chunk. So the words for that last one are, and in my mind I'll stake my claim, and I'll walk the hills of Sire again, and when I die, may my body be lain on Russell Plain, on Russell Plain. So it's the sense that actually she'll be lain back where she's comfortable, she'll be home again, and then I'm using the rhyme idea there to bring that sense of resolution at the end. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what I've done. And the other thing, just to say, is that I have a bit of a dilemma, an artistic dilemma, and you guys, I'd like to know in the comments whether you can help me resolve this. It's not a plain, that's my problem. A plain technically is an American word really for a cleared area of land. So in a sense it would have been clear because it was before forestry, so it would have been, you know, open fields and heathland and glens, and beside rivers. But it would be a bit hilly, so we can't technically go with it being a flat area of plain. So I kind of like it, and it fits with all my rhyming, so I have a bit of an artistic dilemma. So I'd be interested to know in the comments whether you think we can get away with that on artistic license, or whether I need to sit down and re-pen it. So I'd be interested to know your ideas, and also suggestions for orchestration or instrumentation, because next week I'm going to start looking at options. So obviously we've got a piano, I've got an accordion, squeeze box that I play. I've got a friend who I can chat to about adding acoustic guitar and other stringed instruments. I've also got a cellist who I'm thinking this might be quite nice for this. So I've got a shruti box as well. So lots of options. Do we add harmony? Do we choose not to add harmony? Is it going to be completely unaccompanied? Loads and loads and loads of choices. Do we want percussion? So I'd like to know your ideas and opinions on this, but that's the update on the song this week. So do check out Ken McGugan's book if you're able to get hold of a copy. Yeah, I shall look forward to seeing you next week and showing you how the song has developed across the course of the week. Have a lovely week. See you then. Bye.